Hi, this is Tommy from Practical Programmer, and in today's edition of Practical Programmer Java, I'll be going through the editor. That's including comments and documentation, generating the code and implementing methods, moving code blocks and code around, a multi-line edit, duplicating, formatting code, and navigation. Firstly, I'll be setting up a standard template header for our class files. So through actions, type in code template, and we will just add in the file header a simple copyright message. We're using copyright here as just an illustration. It's not necessarily always needed or used. It is also quite common to include your name in the file. Next, we'll be creating a new class, a new interface, using the generate shortcut. And as we can see, the copyright message is now included by default. Next, we'll be adding some documentation to the class. So firstly, create a new method. The class or the interface level documentation is added at the top of the declaration. So just key in /* and key in your documentation what this interface does. Once the documentation has been created, you can quick view it and press again, and you can see it maximize window. Adding the documentation for the methods works exactly the same way. If a method has attributes or parameters, they will be automatically included in the documentation. And again, you can view the documentation, and in decisions we can see the parameters specifically. We can also view the other classes and methods defined, for example, the inbuilt string object. Firstly, we'll create a new abstract class implementing the interface. I will firstly create a private string variable that we will access through a public getter and setter. Under the generate key shortcut, there are several options. We can override methods. Our abstract class is not implementing the interface yet, so let's implement the interface to see the methods that we can then implement. And now we have implement methods option. We can implement the method that we created earlier. Again, we can access the documentation for this method. And navigate to the declaration of the interface. And next, using the generate function, we will generate the getters and setters for the private variable. And following that, we'll add implementation for the toString method. We can quickly navigate between the previous edit points. The editor will monitor your typing and will pick up on misspellings and will suggest alternative spellings. We will now implement the newly generated method. We can move a selection or a line in a different location in the class. We can duplicate a line or a selection of code. When a method becomes very long and is taking a lot of your screen space, you can always fold it. Sometimes when working with code, particularly when copy pasting code, the formatting can be quite off. Even though it's syntactically correct and will compile, it's not very readable. So you can simply reformat the code under the code and format code. Or alternatively, you can access through actions and reformat code. It is also possible to edit multiple locations within the file. So selecting an item and then expanding the selection will create several cursors. The multi-line edit is perhaps not the most useful function for Java classes, but it is very useful for editing, for example, HTML files. I have now created a class that is extending the abstract class just to illustrate the point of navigating to the declarations. So in creating a new method using the superclass method, get first name, and we can now simply by clicking the method jump in to the abstract class. Also, what you can see now is that the method that is being used is now highlighted being used. can also select the method and click Find Users to find any applicable uses of that method and jump between.